Hey guys, it's David here, and it's currently day 286, I believe, but the time is currently 5:42, and today is Sunday. That means I'm gonna wake up now and embrace this morning when everyone is asleep, when the sun is still yet rising, and just really use this time to self-reflect, to go over my week and go over my troubles, go over my mistakes, not to repent, not to regret, but rather look at what I can do next week to make my week better. Look at why I made the choices I did this week so that I could not make it again. And normally I do self reflection towards the end of the day, but I think I have been neglecting such an important task when I should be doing this when I'm at my most clearest state, when I'm at the most present state. So I'm gonna do that in the mornings, which is going to be very soon. So I'm gonna do that, use my morning, embrace my morning, and live up to my fullest capabilities when I'm at my best. So, that being said, today is going to be an amazing day. Although this afternoon I do have a shift from 1 to 6, so that is a lot of time taken out of my day, which is why we gotta wake up in the morning, just have like an hour to ourselves where everybody's asleep, where there's peace and quiet, so that we can understand what we can do and what we can do without time. This is why I wake up like around 5 or something so that I can just have like at least an hour of the time to myself to do something I want to do the things that's going to make me better. So I'm gonna get right on with that. But today is going to be an amazing day. So I'll see you guys in a bit. Hey guys, the time is about 11:22, 1 hour before I have to head off till my afternoon towards the evening shift. And pretty much what has happened this morning is I spend the time to self-reflect first thing in the morning where I felt my clearest, and it had revelated something to me that has quite surprisingly shocked me in a good way, as that it brought me in the conscious that what I have been doing with my time has been both unproductive and inefficient. And what do I mean by that is that this whole week I have only spent 21 hours in total, well, the average, on coding, on how to code on my biggest project at the moment, which is the tool I'm going to use to create an app and software that will help reach my vision to the world. And it is quite shocking to see that what I prioritize above everything in life, I only put towards 21 hours towards it. Less than a day. It is quite surprising to me. And yet I spend about 14 hours on average working for someone to do something that I really don't like. And it just surprises me that I don't spend too much time onto it. And although, yes, I have other things to do, like I spend around 7 to 8 hours a week making YouTube videos, 14 hours on working out, 7 hours on reading, and then so on. So, yes, majoritarily speaking, I am spending the good deal of my time on self improvement. However, the time I use to delegate the task is spread evenly. But I do wish to see more time spent on coding, which comes to this other point I also discovered is that it turned out after a rough estimation of the time I used to spend on my task and daily obligations, it turns out I still have 22 hours left. And somehow, at the moment, in the moment on the morning, I couldn't really come to think of what I used my 21 hours to be. Was I distracted for the 21 hours, or was I just doing something carelessly for the rest of the 21 hours? And this is very surprising for me to discern this because just imagine what I could have used that 22 hours for if I used that 22 hours to put towards learning how to code, then I will have a greater average and I have perhaps even progressed more in that area than having this rest of this time just magically disappear. So this is very surprising to me as what I had to use this time for. And And it's also quite shocking to see that I have so much time left that I'm not using really productively. So I guess my point is that a lot of the times we feel like we don't have enough time to do the things we want to do, but we don't really take the time and effort to really think to ourselves what we are using our time on towards. And if we just spend some time to self reflect, to go through our to do list, to go through exactly what it is we are doing every single day, then we might just manipulate some of the unimportant things we are doing and put that time towards doing the important things. And if we can do that, then we will have more time to do the things we want to do. If we can do that, then perhaps we will stop complaining about not having enough time to work on this goal, about not having enough time to work on this progress or purpose, and that the only reason we don't have enough time is because we are not making the time for ourselves to work on the hard things. Rather, we try to avoid doing the difficult thing. We try to avoid facing the pain and failure. And yes, we all do this simply because we don't like to be in pain. We don't like to face our fears. But if you don't face your fears, if you run away from this, if you run away from your shame, then you are only diminishing your brilliance. Then you are only diminishing your chance to become extraordinary. And the price to pay of being extraordinary is to go through this period of pain. Because going through this period of pain really builds your character, it builds your emotional intelligence, it builds your mentally intelligence, and it gives you the grit and wit for you to accomplish greater things in this world that will be disposed upon you if you just manage your time more wisely. And I do believe next week what I want to be doing is to have a timer or some sort to really measure exactly how long I spend on each task so that I could figure out how I'm losing on this 22 hours a week, which is averaged out to be around 3 hours a day just gone. Obviously, I watched 3 hours of movies yesterday, and perhaps every single day I spend maybe an hour distracted on my phone on YouTube, which I have been doing for about 3 days or 4 days this week. So that does add up. But then it's still questions like, where did the rest of my 14 or 15 hours go? It can't just magically disappear. So something definitely has been going under my daily routine, some ineffective habits or behaviors that I have to root out, that I have to understand why it is first happening so that I could attack this problem to get it out of my life, because I need all the time I have to work on my bigger goals, to work on my ambition. Because if you're only like spending 20 hours a week, which is about 3 hours a day, on your biggest dream, then perhaps your ambition isn't even that high enough. If you're really ambitious on reaching your goals, on reaching your purpose, then you have to at least spend every single breathing moment of your life to work towards that goal. And yes, maybe I could be more grateful and show some gratitude on the effort I am putting towards my goals simply because I have other goals that will help me contribute to my bigger vision and just the overall self improvement journey. So, yes, if we add in working out, if we add in reading books, if we add in journaling, meditating, self reflecting, and everything else that contributes to self improvement, then yes, we could say that I am spending about 8 to or 10 hours a day working towards that overall goal. But I really want to put more time towards coding, is what I'm trying to say, because that is something I am not the best at. That is something I could improve a lot on, and that is definitely the vehicle that will help me reach my goals. That is the vehicle that will help fund my life eventually, and that is the vehicle that will help me deliver my vision to the world. So, in essence, that is the main thing that I prioritize. And simply, that is a very valuable asset for me. So only putting 3 hours towards that thing alone definitely can be reviewed to further questioning, because I definitely wish to put more times towards that. So finding exactly what I have been doing with my time and using my spare time, using the time I had wasted this week to put towards that is going to be my priority of next week. And it's unfortunate to say that I have not yet finished my second project. Now, this is simply because there have come more obstacles and there was more things I want to implement in this new project. Now, obviously, this could be a sign of professionalism, but I could say that I have just not foreseen far enough into the possibilities and perhaps roadblocks that will come along the way. So, yes, there are more things I want to integrate in this new project before I release it to you guys, but it certainly won't take too long. I'm thinking just a few more days and then this will be done and dusted. But obviously, like I said, if I used all my time effectively on this project and have procrastinated less, then perhaps it would have got done today. So overall, I have just not been productive. Overall, I could do better, and I do believe all of us can do better if we just put our mind to it. So let's do that today. Let's just do this simple step of putting our mind towards anything we are doing, and that we should not be distracted. We should not be sidetracked by distractions so easily. That being said, this has been my afternoon. I am gonna have some food in me, gonna relax my mind for a bit before I start this grueling and tedious 5 hour shift. I'll see you guys tonight.
Hey guys, it is currently around 8:11. So came back from my 5 hour-ish shift and pretty much had dinner, and I am about to wrap up the day here tonight. But before I go to bed tonight, I want to do a set of recalls just to recap on exactly what I had learned today and to always improve my knowledge, always improve my memory by having these recalls set in place, basically these flashcards that are going to test myself on the knowledge I have gained so far through coding. Because, like anything, guys, if we want to retain something, if we want to remember something, then the best way is to always test ourselves. Yes, this is why going to school may be important for you to retain knowledge, because they have a system there. And yeah, testing yourself is a very effective way to learn that knowledge. Obviously, I am not trying to graduate. I am not trying to go to high school or college or whatever, but simply I just want to retain the knowledge I had learned so that I don't have to keep on going back to my notes and learning what I had learned already. It is definitely ineffective and unproductive at all, which is why I am doing these tests to really harness and consolidate the things I had learned. But today, guys, when I came back on the bus ride home, I was looking through properties on this rental site, right? And why am I looking at properties? No, I am not moving out. I certainly don't have enough money to do that. But it was just a curiosity to see like what kind of apartments or just like rental properties are around my area and the highest price and really what that can get you. Basically, what money can get you. And by doing so, I had this motivation, guys. I'm telling you, like when I saw the things money can buy for you, when I thought the things that I can get if I just put more effort and work into chasing my desires, into chasing my goals, it is definitely an opulence life waiting ahead of me, guys. And by looking at these luxurious and affluent neighborhoods, apartments, etc., it gave me a motivational boost simply because it reminded me of the abundance the world has to offer still. And sometimes when you live in a very poor economic position, when you live in a so-called average neighborhood, your vision are very, very skewed, right? Like you're seeing your neighbors are poor, you're seeing that your community isn't really wealthy. So you really miss out on the bigger picture of the world. Especially like if you're in a very poor country, also like you don't really expect that there's something bigger than just your farm and your cattle, right? You think that the world is like yours. And this is why environment is so important, because it really opens your eyes to the possibilities the world has to offer. So by going on a site to look at these luxurious properties basically gave me an eye opener to see that there's so much more in this world that if I just try a little bit harder, I will get there. If I just try a little bit harder tomorrow, then I'll get closer to living that opulence life, to living that new life, pretty much. And I'm just super excited that I have re-understood this concept, because I have to be honest with you guys. I haven't really been focusing on increasing my finance in a way that I am not really prioritizing my financial gains, as at the moment I am more focused on what coding is bringing me or is satisfying me internally rather than superficial needs and wants. But sometimes just seeing what the world has to offer, just seeing what you are missing out in life does trigger this motivational response that just gets you going a little bit more. And I'm not saying we should prioritize and pedestal money and just superficial wants, but all I'm saying is that those are good to have in life because they certainly will satisfy one of our primal needs, whether that's status, reputation, or just living in luxury or just living comfortably, right? It definitely triggers a primal need. Now, if you guys have this internal drive set out already, like you're doing something internally to satisfy a purpose, and having these external rewards, like having these eye openers to luxury properties, to supercars, to nice watches, then this only adds fuel to your fire, but you are not, for say, driven by them. And what I mean by this is that because you have a deeper reason to become successful, you don't really care too much about whether you'll want these things or not in life eventually. But having them is almost like the cherry on top of the cake, right? You don't really want the cherry, but it's nice to have on top. And that is in itself a motivational fuel today for me to really reassess my life pretty much and just push myself a little bit harder, knowing that there's that cherry on the hill just waiting for me, and all I have to do is just putting a little bit more effort and keep myself in check to not stay complacent when I feel like I have done enough. Because when you feel like you have done enough, you can always do more. And the moment you do more is when you break free from your normalcy. The moment you do a little bit more than you're comfortable with is when you start reaching your greatest brilliance. And a lot of the times, a lot of us stay or cut short of our full potential simply because we are comfortable doing just a bare minimum, or we are comfortable doing just 3 to 5 hours of work, and doing that little bit more may be unfamiliar to us, not because we don't want to do it, but simply because we have built this habit to only do X amount of work. But if you can go beyond and above what you have been doing every single day, that is when you reach a new level of mental, physical, and spiritual competence that you had never touched before. Because we have to always break free from complacency. We have to always break free from what we are comfortable with so that we can reach greatness in life. That being said, I had a wonderful, wonderful weekend today, and I do hope you guys had an amazing week. And I hope you guys also had learned something from this, because today, honestly, I have learned so much through my morning self reflection. And this is going to make my next week even better. Despite me not reaching any of my goals this week, I am going to work harder next week. I am going to go break my complacency next week, because I am someone who values keeping through my word, because I am someone who values keeping his promise, and I am someone who is going to challenge what his primal instinct is telling him to do. So, that being said, I hope you guys are doing well, but I'll see you guys tomorrow. And yeah, have a great, great, wonderful night. Good night.